Hey there, honey bunnies. Welcome to episode 89 of the Sovereign Storytellers podcast with your host, Michelle Wolf. Today's episode is going to be called Swimming with Uncertainty. I've seen a lot of books, right? Swimming with Sharks, Swimming with Elephants, which looks like a good book, but I haven't read. But Swimming with Uncertainty is up for a lot of us, right? And has been pretty strongly, stronger than normal, right? There's times in our lives where we're always going through uncertainty. Something happens, the rug gets pulled out from under us, we're tossed up into the air, dealing directly with uncertainty. But, I don't think any of us, well, maybe not, probably, anyway, I think a lot of us are quite aware of the uncertainty that's happening to everyone. So it's usually happening to a handful of people or a country or a city or something happens, but the whole entire world is tossed up in uncertainty right now. Yeah, we don't know what's going on. We don't know who to believe. We don't know what the fuck. We don't know how long this is going to last. It's a lot, right? I was talking with my daughter this morning. She's very sad. She started and stopped her education. Then she went back and clawed her way to the finish line and has got a great job, is ready to start her first year of teaching, planning out decorating the classroom, and bam, digital learning, right? Digital teaching with twin 6-year-olds who will be digital learning. So disappointing. Her head kept telling her it could happen, but she was really wanting that experience. She worked so hard for it. She has held on to that as a kind of a life raft. And then the life raft gets snatched, right? We have to be careful of that life raft tendency of us holding on to some point in the future as when I get there, then I can relax. When I get to this point in time, then I'll be okay. So swimming with uncertainty, holding on to hope, holding on to some point in the future as a way to not drown in the present. It is very difficult even for those of us who have, decades of experience with handling dark times. We're well resourced with skills and techniques and the discipline of a daily practice, and we're all struggling. And sometimes I forget, because of the circles that I run in, that there's more people out there who don't have those resources internally to flow with the ups and downs, who've experienced enough times of that rug being snatched out from under you that now you feel it coming. Brace yourself, Betsy! The rug's about to get snatched out from under us again. We're old. We've been around long enough to go, I feel like the thing is about to happen again. That thing that happens right before everything goes to shit. I feel it coming. Hold on. All right. If you're really young, you probably haven't had a whole lot of those times, and you haven't had a lot of experience in sort of sussing out the energy flows in the environment so that you can detect when you see the cat twice, when you can detect that Ruh-roh, there's a glitch in the matrix. It just happened. Heads up, everybody. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that because I felt like it, but because I want to encourage you to be present with what's happening, even when it's so heart-crushingly disappointing. Even when you were all geared up, all dressed up, and then now there's nowhere to go. Weddings have been postponed, engagements have been postponed, planned children have been, so much postponement. But my encouragement is to live. Like, don't postpone it. It won't be, there isn't some magical mystery better day ahead. There's only a different day ahead. Better day implies that there's no good in today. Now, I can definitely fall into that because I'm naturally a cynic. I was born in the 80s, so when you're born in the... No, I wasn't born in the 80s. I was a teenager in the 80s. I'm Generation X. I was born in 66. Durr. But when you're a Gen X kid, you just came out with a cynicism card. So, I can fall into the cynicism, pessimistic kind of, well, why did you expect it to be anything different? Because everything is always crap, So I can fall into that. And that's part of my daily practice, is pulling myself back from the abyss and practicing extreme mindfulness to find the joy in today. To find any moment, anything, any speck of the good, anything that I can appreciate in this moment. I am a huge fan of light. And when I learned to be an artist, I noticed these things even as a kid. But when I learned to be an artist, and then I started exploring photography, and then I started photographing my art, there's so much to light that you're not aware of unless you're looking for it. It's like this whole magical realm of light waves that you miss out on unless you've been doing something that requires you to look at the way light hits an object, wraps around it, how it casts a shadow, how it shines through something, and how it will shine through something in layers. Like at the top, it shines through a lot, sort of like water, It shines through a lot on the top layer, and the deeper and deeper and deeper you go, the less light you have, and every layer down is changing. I'm making an assumption on the water because I am not going to get in the water where the light runs out. No, thank you. Not going to happen. But I'm surrounded by trees, and all day long the light hits the leaves, or in the winter hits the trunks and the branches in different ways all throughout the day, depending on the clouds and all that stuff. So we can apply that as an anchor to uncertainty, because nature is always exhibiting this vast, complex tapestry of beauty that's all around us. I think I said 1 or 2 episodes ago that I'm really focused on the word beauty right now. Like, what does it mean? What does that mean? Just that word. Like, what is the vast bucket of experiences and other words and things that come along with this idea of beauty? There's very little certainty to be had, even on a good day. Any day, you can leave your house and not come back. We know that. right? We spend a lot of time and energy to push that out of our consciousness because we, probably lose it if we were, not if we were focused on that all the time. But there isn't any certainty, ever. Nature is right in front of our faces. Even if you live in the city, you can study light. One of the things I so love about Paris is the light, the quality of the light, which hits the buildings and the colors of the city. And so even if you're not surrounded by trees and stuff, you can still watch light wrap around buildings. Concrete is still nature. It's just in a different form. Concrete is rocks. Rocks are nature. Concrete still has an energy that you can tap into. It's not cold and heartless. It's rock nation in a different form. You can still connect. When we're swimming with the uncertainty of everything around us, we get scared because our mind hates that. Right? Hates uncertainty with the white hot heat of 1,000 suns. Hates it. Can't bear it. Will do really dumb stuff in an attempt to avoid even being aware of all the uncertainty. So the antidote to that is to grab on to the nearest thing that you can land your eyes upon that's nature-based, or light, or clouds. When we connect to nature, we understand at a visceral level cycles. Death is not a thing in nature. Death is only scary to the mind. Everything else understands that you come with a best by date, right? You come with an expiration date. You're gonna expire. Your best by date is gonna pass, and you will be no more in this particular form. Being out here in the woods is a constant education of that. And for me, it has really brought home how much intuitively I'm comfortable and I understand death and I'm not afraid of it, but my mind is a total freak show about the idea. Hates that idea. Is absolutely petrified, terrified of ending. That's what the ego cannot bear, which is why we really resist silent meditation, contemplation, because when you're sitting in silence, eventually this topic is going to cross your brain, and then it's, you're on a grand adventure of how are you going to handle that. So swimming with uncertainty, grab onto nature and watch what's right in front of you. This is a tactic of extreme mindfulness which brings you into the present moment. And in the present moment, you can let go of living for that day when things are better and you can experience what you've been anticipating experiencing. You don't wait for tomorrow. You go ahead and be present in your life in this moment. When you're fully present in the moment, focused on the way the sun is shining through a leaf, and as you're watching that, a cloud comes by just enough that it changes the shade of green that you were just looking at just a bit. And then the cloud moves a little bit more and that color becomes more opaque as the sun is not able to shine through the leaf, and the color changes. The level of opacity. What's the word? opacity. I don't know how to pronounce it. The level of light you see shining through the leaf is changing, okay? You got it? Keep up. When you're watching that, you're not thinking about when is this crap going to go away so I can feel better. You just go ahead and feel better. When are things going to get back on track? When is life going to return to normal? When are we going to be able to do the things that we used to do, that we love doing and we really miss, and we don't, you know, we don't know. We have no idea, and that makes our minds insane. We can take control of that process by practicing extreme mindfulness and by anchoring in nature. Two things: extreme mindfulness and anchoring in nature. When you anchor in nature, you're already in extreme mindfulness. If you're truly focused on seeing a leaf as if you didn't know what it was and you'd never seen one before, or the bark of a tree, or the different kinds of flowers around you, or the different kinds of bugs. I feel sometimes like I live in a microcosm of Jurassic Park. Like, I've got some bugs out here that really do look prehistoric. They're huge and they're terrifying, and I do my best to avoid seeing them. So not that much nature, but pretty nature. Trees and bark and grass and flowers and the cute bugs like bumblebees. Ladybugs, not the scary, flying, roachy, weird bugs. If you are living for some time in the future when you can then relax, you're exhausting yourself for really no reason. And I say no reason not to say quit being dumb. It's not helping, but it's really not helping. It's our habit to go, oh, well, today sucks, so I'll pin my hopes on the weekend, right? We all do this. We've been doing it forever. Only now the weekend comes and we still have the virus. We still have the upheaval. We're going to be seeing even more of that before the end of the year. So what? So what then? If the weekend's not going to be better, and it might in fact be worse, you can't live for the weekend. You'll be continually crushed by disappointment when Saturday news breaks and it's another disaster, or it's another piece in our bucket of chum country right now, right? It's another piece of things falling apart. And on one hand, we know this is happening and we can take some good from it eventually. But in the thick of it, it feels pretty horrible. You can't let yourself be horrible endlessly, because then you're digging a groove in your brain that is focused on feeling horrible. So there's the philosophical components and the spirituality components, but there's biological components that our brain chemistry is really off out of whack right now, right? It's off kilter. It's wandering around slightly askew because things are different and they're staying different. We're used to things being different, and then in a few days, a few weeks, even a few months, we go back to air quote normal, or we create a new normal and we move forward in our life. Only that's not happening. And we have no idea what's coming, and we can feel some things. We know it's not going to get better anytime soon. So you can't be living for soon, or you're going to dig a groove. You're going to shift your brain chemistry over to a groove that doesn't feel very good. Let's just put it that way. In the same way, if you are doing trauma work, you have to train your brain toward happiness. You have to train yourself to be able to feel and tolerate, isn't that strange? To tolerate the sensations of joy and allowing yourself to be happy. If you've grown up with multiple traumas, a lot of the work is called resource installation, which if you can get technical about that, and I won't, but the bottom line is you have to train yourself to feel happy. You have to train yourself to build the internal resources that you didn't get from your childhood. The good news is you can train yourself into it. You can also train yourself into chronic depression and chronic trauma response and chronic anxiety if you aren't giving yourself a break and focusing on what's right in front of you, bringing all of you to the present moment, which you can do by anchoring in nature. You can do it lots of ways. You can just look at your clothes. Look at the texture of your skin as if you woke up and you were like, hey, what's holding all this stuff together? What is that stuff that has like freckles and stuff on it? Where'd that tattoo come from? Close, mindful examination of the present moment. Can you hear that cat in the background? Good Lord, he's loud. If you've never lived with a cat, they can't stand a closed door. They don't even want what's on the other side of the door. They just can't handle that the door is closed. Let me open this for him. Yeah, come on, noisy. We have to be mindful of our level of mindfulness, what we're being mindful of, and how long we're being mindful of it. We're going to have to go ahead and live right now because we don't know. We really, really don't know, and nobody knows. We can't live for next week, next month, next year. Our challenge is to find what joy, what happiness can be found right here, right now, today. Even with an obnoxious cat interrupting your podcast episode. What do you want, Betty? We have to grab onto the light. How is the light landing on your front yard right now? How is the light coming through your windows? What leaves can you lay eyes upon right now? Can you find some little bit, some plant to lay your eyes on and study and notice how you feel before you start an intense examination of a lettuce leaf, if that's all you've got? If all you've got is like half a lemon and a head of romaine lettuce, examine it like you don't know what those are. Examine it like you have never seen a piece of romaine lettuce before. It's pretty interesting. And it's a very simple and quick tool to help you experience, okay, how do you feel before you go examine something very closely in minute detail? How does the light hit it? If you had to draw it, how would you do the shading? How would you go from lightest light to darkest dark? Contemplating that for a little bit. And then how do you feel after? This can take as little as 2 minutes, and you can shift the grind in your brain. If you catch yourself grinding gears, trying to go from second to third, or maybe even first to second. Today I had a real hard time getting started, so first to second gear was a little bit of a challenge. But the light is always there for you, figuratively and literally. It's there for you as that life raft. Your life raft can't be tomorrow. Your lifeline can't be some point in the future because we don't know. We have to get our lifelines and our life rafts right here in this very moment. 1:50 p.m. Eastern on Monday, July 20th. The lifeline is the blue sky with scattered puffy clouds and all these trees that cause me allergies but are so beautiful? What can your lifeline be right now to find certainty in the uncertainty, to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, to find a moment of beauty in the midst of this hurricane energy, chaos, darkness, craziness? We worry about swimming with uncertainty because our mind knows that it doesn't have the resources to survive. Your mind knows and feels like it's all alone. It's the part of us that's separate. It's the part of us that forgets that we can tap into the oneness, the wordlessness. It forgets that the light is always available. It's your job to take control of that process. The one thing that you can control. What are you dwelling on? What are you mulling over? What are you allowing yourself to perseverate on? What concepts are you dancing with, and for how long and why? One good thing I'm taking from all this upheaval is really taking control and being a grown-up, which I hate. Can't I just be a rotten little kid? To just be a grown-up about my use of social media, which is periodically ridiculous. Just ridiculous. Out of control. Instagram. I love Instagram, right? We love that little dopamine burst of a new image and a new image and a new image. Scroll, scroll, scroll. I know I'm not the only one that has fallen asleep while scrolling and been woken up by the cell phone smack to the forehead. How stupid is that? Come on, y'all. That's dumb. So, our mind knows it's not going to make it, and it can't handle it. It doesn't have the resources for it. But you do. The larger you do, you have the ability to go, wait a minute. I'm drowning in thoughts right now. What would I like to do differently? What kind of internal resources do I have that I could use right now to get the hell off of Instagram for a little bit? What skills and techniques can I use right now to find some groundedness in the swirling chaos? Go outside. You can even do this while you're driving the car. You can become really aware of the other cars. You can become really aware of your hands on the steering wheel. What does your steering wheel actually feel like? A very simple technique is just to grab the hem of your clothes, the edge of whatever you're wearing, and just fiddle with it. What does the edge of your, in my case, maxi dress look like? Flip it over. Feel the texture. Look at the color. Think about who sewed it. Well, maybe don't think about that because that might be depressing. Maybe don't go down that road. Stay present. What color is it? What's the texture like? Does it feel good on your body? Or are you wearing it because you think you should wear it, because you paid a lot for it, or because you bought it and never, stop, become aware, and make some choices. When we remind ourselves that we are grown-ups, that we can make choices, that we should step back and evaluate what we're doing, we can choose to be grounded. We can choose to go out and get our news and be informed accept and be aware of all the pain and the chaos. As we talked about last time, love embraces it all of it, all of it. Certain in the uncertainty. Comfortable with the uncomfortable. Getting comfortable with the uncertainty. It doesn't go away. It's amplified in your awareness right now, but it doesn't go away. It's always there. Always. So get comfortable with it. Get comfortable with the things that don't feel what we would call good. Get comfortable with making space for those experiences without a label. If you don't label it not good, then it's just a series of sensations. The sensations of the emotions running through your body, through your consciousness. It's just sensations that always change. Pain is a sensation, and it always changes. I read an email, I think it was yesterday, Virginia Rosenberg, virginiarosenberg.com, sent out her new moon in Cancer, which is today, I think, right? The 20th? I thought it was yesterday, but I think it's actually today. Anyway, she was listing all the types of, all these adjectives about this moon. This kind of moon, that kind of moon. And then the last sentence before you had to click on the thing to go to her website and read the whole article was, this is a grow-up moon. Not a grown-up moon. This is a grow-up moon. Take responsibility moon. Look at how much power you're giving away to external circumstances kind of moon. Take responsibility for yourself, what you're allowing to go on inside your own head kind of moon. Train yourself to be aware of yourself so that you can make a conscious, sovereign choice kind of moon. That's a grow-up moon. Grow up can sound so mean, right? Grow up! Oh my God! Could you just grow up already? Right? Or I don't want to be a grown-up. I don't want to grow up. Being a grown-up sucks. Right? But if you don't grow up, you can't have ultimate freedom. If freedom is one of your values, you're not free if you're, hanging out in the Twitterverse till your eyeballs explode. That's not responsible. That's not being a grown-up. That's not freedom. It's not freedom, and here's why. Because the algorithms. Anybody involved in tech, anybody involved in food manufacturing knows how the brain works because they've spent millions of dollars studying it. If you don't choose to be grown up, you are not aware of when the algorithm has you buy the dopamine. You're not aware of it when the Doritos are scientifically engineered to hit you in the fat, sugar, salt centers of your brain and blast you with such a surge that's unnatural to the brain, and it triggers a desire for more and more in the exact same way cocaine and heroin do. It's such a burst of dopamine and all the other chemicals that come with the reward center in the brain. It's an unnaturally huge surge of chemicals that normally your brain would never experience. But science has figured out that if you can do that in a Dorito, you sell more Doritos. If you can design an algorithm to deliver what suits this particular person, and they know because of your habits on social media which thing will trigger you to continue scrolling. When you think about it that way, it's pretty fucked up. The only reason I was really able to quit smoking is I finally got it that the tobacco companies were playing me for a chump. I hated the feeling of being a chump. That cigarettes were engineered. If you just smoked natural tobacco, you'd never be as addicted as if you smoked Marlboros. Things that were scientifically tweaked and tinkered on purpose to keep you hooked. Twitter's no different. Facebook is no different. Instagram's no different. Doritos are no different. Is that their fault? Is that Twitter, Facebook, Frito-Lay, is that their fault? It's debatable. At the end of the day, I say no. It's not their fault. They're in the business of making and selling a product. They have been very clever and invested wisely in the science that shows how to sell more of their product. That's their goal, right? More product, more movement, more happy stockholders, yada yada. Not everybody gets hooked on chemicals the same way. Some people are able to put that bag down. Some people don't eat half the bag. Some people don't lose a whole weekend on Pinterest. Okay, it's not everybody. But if you're one of those that's vulnerable to things like that, it's your job to grow up. It's your job to exercise, use your resources, find the tools that work for you to get mindful and find the center point. Find the places that you can anchor several times a day so that you take responsibility for what's going on in your own noggin. That's your realm. That's your brain. If we're looking out and going, those Frito-Lay fuckers, they hooked my brain on the Doritos. I'm doomed to a Cool Ranch existence. No. Sorry, honey bunny. It's your job to go, wow, my brain really digs on Cool Ranch. I maybe not should eat these. I maybe should only buy a whittle bag, a well baby bag of Cool Ranch Doritos. So that I don't, you don't buy the party-sized Dorito bag if you know you have a brain that's vulnerable to the chemicals of compositions of fat, sugar, salt that turn off your satiated, I can't pronounce anything today. The thing in your brain that lets you know when you're full, that thing. If you know that Doritos flip that switch off and you're not going to know when you're full, then you don't open the party-size bag, you buy the wheel baby bag. Okay, if you know that you're vulnerable to Twitter, then you set a timer on your cell phone, and when the timer goes off, you grow up. And you put the phone down. Put down the ducky. Did you ever watch Sesame Street? Put down that ducky. Gotta put down the ducky if you're gonna play the saxophone. Gotta put the ducky down, y'all. So, grow up, Moon. Grow up. Establish a daily practice so you check in with yourself. Where am I? Who am I? What the hell am I doing? What's going on around here? How am I spending my day? You might even need to do a time study and jot down a few times a day what you're actually up to, because we lie to ourselves all the time. I wasn't on Twitter for 3 hours. It was only 30 minutes. Wah, wah. Total lie. The growing up part is knowing that you lie to yourself. We all do it. You can't help it. You're human. You got a human brain. Human brains lie. That's what they do. Nothing to get upset about. Just something to manage. Something to be aware of. Not even really to manage. Just be aware of it. You swim with uncertainty, awareness. Pick an extreme mindfulness moment. Anchor in nature. If you're daily checking in with yourself, you catch yourself lying to yourself faster. That's what being a grown-up is. Being so aware of yourself that you are not a hypocrite. If you're going to spend a whole weekend on Pinterest, you just say that. Hey, you know what? I'm going to spend a whole weekend on Pinterest and nobody can stop me because I'm a grown-up. Right? You just name your craziness. I'm going to eat this whole bag of Doritos. That's not really grown up though, right? Because that hurts your body and that's not nice. I'm sure y'all can figure this out, right? So during this grow up moon, take responsibility. What are you doing? What the hell are you doing? What are you allowing to go on? Are you thrashing around drowning? Or are you going to give yourself a life raft? Right here, right now, in this moment. Will you do that for yourself? Will you grab yourself by the scruff of the neck and say, yeah, we're not doing that. We're going to go feel the air on our skin. We're going to go open the salad drawer, pull out a piece of produce, and really examine it. Because that will get us anchored in the here and now. We're not off in the past, wishing for times that are gone and gone forever. Or we're not too far in the forward, freaking ourselves out because we don't know any of the details of when, where, why, what the hell is next year going to look like. We're anchored here and now. Okay, I hope that all made sense. Here, let me bottom line it for you. Go outside and look at the light and look at how the light is hitting everything that it lands on. And think about all the kinds of light. Light from the sun, light from the light bulbs, light from your heart, light from your soul, light from God. If I was better at words, I could probably turn that into a rap, but I'll save us all and not go there. Okay, in the meantime, think less, feel more. Talk to you next time.